Aloha and welcome to Java. Thank you kindly for joining me again. This is for Monday, March 25th, 2024. Kind of a light day. Got a few things going on, but we'll start with the markets. So the favored risk indicator, the MMRI, is still high territory, but it's below 275 now. So kind of consolidating, as I said before, not any major moves, which is good as it stabilizes here. Markets kind of getting comfortable with the higher inflation rate at the moment. That could change. So with this, we are watching the relative strength of the dollar or the Dixie and the 10-year yield. Now, these are both gaining a bit of strength. So at the moment, we are seeing the stocks futures kind of in the green, a little bit level. However, if these gain ground and the dollar relative strength of the dollar and 10-year yield do continue to rise, it will put more pressure on stocks. So we are expecting a bit of a muted day. There's not too much going on, but we'll go into a little bit more specifically. So volatility index about level, rising slightly. And we've got oil and gold also up. Those are fear trades and what are going on to balance out the market. So the sentiment for today, pretty much a hesitate and reflect. So the market is reassessing the outlook for the rate cuts. They did have 6 priced in before, then dropped down to about 3. And now they're looking at the possibility of only 1 rate cut for the year. So if that's what's going to happen, the market knows it have to readjust. So it's trying to do what it does and basically price in 1 rate cut as opposed to what it had before. So we got a reminder. This Friday is Good Friday, so the market will be closed to trading. However, we are still getting some information out. So we've got home sales that we're looking forward to. We're also looking more towards inflation numbers that are coming in toward the end of the week. We've got Fed Reserve presidents that are coming out and speaking throughout the week as well. So watching earnings. We've got a few coming out between today and tomorrow, so you can position if you are in any of these. Notably, we've got GameStop up here, any one of you that are into that, as well as a couple of others. So I did want to talk a little bit about Goldman Sachs. They're retaining a bullish view for commodities for the year 2024. So this is interesting because this shows the sector rotation going out of tech and into commodities. I expect that possibly by the end of the year that it is slowly growing, which would include gold, oil, and others, but to increase going into the year 2025. So we've got an election year coming around. November is when I expect things to kind of sort their direction heading into the next year. So we've also got oil is beginning to rise. And this is saying that it's due to geopolitical risks. Talking about supply concerns, I think it's more not just supply concerns and with the shipping, but also with the new alliances that are coming out. So we're watching a few more trades that are happening between Iran and China in the background that's not being talked about in the media, but I'm seeing some of these happen structurally in the background. So looking at basically banking and the economy overall, wanted to bring this up because with the markets, over the last 2 years, I thought this was interesting. There were only 15 tech IPOs as an initial public offering coming out. In 2021, there were 121 in contrast. So that's the highest number since the dot-com bubble of 2000. So this is kind of showing the imbalance of where we're at this moment. So the more you're imbalanced, and this is what I was talking about yesterday, the higher the risk it is, because basically we've got everybody on the same side in one boat. So this is just another version of it, that half of the United States is now in recession as the dollar's depreciation persists. So basically, more inflation causing recession. So this is going to have that large swing that we're talking about. Really, the main indicator and the main thing that I'm watching is jobs. So aside from the numbers that they're reporting, we've got to get higher jobless claims prior to getting rate cuts from the Federal Reserve. We're not anywhere near the pain level, as I like to call it, that they're going to be looking at. We need to, they want to see more job losses. I don't, but we're going to be seeing more of those prior to any rate cuts when they eventually do. So we've got China is trying to block Intel, AMD, and Microsoft from the government computers initially. Spoke about this a little bit yesterday. They do have competitive internal products now, so they're slowly trying to phase these out. But the stories are now coming out mainstream media, United States, so that's going to hit those stocks, big tech in general, and that could cause a serious headwind for stock market in general, because stock market has basically been riding on these for some time. We've seen 30% gain in a very short period, most of that in tech. So caution on that if you're trading. We've got the United States and Japan planning largest upgrade to security pact in over 60 years. So this is going to be spread mostly between cybersecurity and then also with weapons, is what they're talking about. I'll keep you up to date on this because they haven't really put out whether this will be put more towards weapons which will boost the GDP, or whether they're going to use this to try to boost their tech sector. We did just have Japan with their rates, so keep an eye on that. Okay, so moving off the markets directly, I picked up this because they're talking about water stress again by the year 2050. So I know I keep bringing this up. It's terribly important, and I think it's not getting nearly the coverage that it needs. This is a whole sector, and as you can see, directly from the World Economic Forum about how they're facing water stress. So this report on the top is directly from Statista, separate report from the WEF. However, we are heading that direction, and they want to push things in this direction because if they control water supply, people can't really argue that. So I've got a couple of lava updates I want to bring to you. The first is they're speaking about a severe solar storm hitting the Earth and causing the Midwest to see the northern lights. So in case you don't know already, if you can see the northern lights, those are caused by the energy particles are hitting the atmosphere. And as they come in there without getting too nerdy on you, basically it releases energy, and those are the lights that you see. So what that means is if you're seeing those northern lights or in the area where they're going to be reported, that means you're in those energy waves and you need to protect your devices. So if you've got some Faraday cloth, or if you don't, just wrap them in foil. I know that sounds silly, but just to protect them through the short wave that we're getting hit with. And yes, we're also going to be subject to this. We're also basically more complex electronic devices. However, just to kind of warn you about this coming in, it's supposed to be a little more intense. And then also having to do with the stars, I've been talking about the eclipse and a couple other things, but we've got a rare celestial event coming, another one. They're talking about a nova. So temporarily it's going to show as bright as a northern star, and this is where you can see it. It's a once in a lifetime phenomenon. It also happens to be coming at this same period of time. So in the nebula, if you're interested in this, you can look this up and see where you can look at it depending on where you are, because we have quite the global audience here. So with that, I wish you all a wonderful day in general. Hope you stay green if you are trading, and until I see you again, my friends, stay free.